Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. This is Ernie Delgado, and I am coming to you live from Southern California on this glorious morning. Along with me today is Keon Thomas, who is coming to you from the Valley, and then Dr. Hoffman, who will be our presenter today. And she is actually representing our country as in the military in Germany. So she's coming to you from abroad. So I just want to make sure that everyone sees what I see. Are we looking good, guys? Yes? The screen looks accurate, Malia?
Yes,
it looks
you look
good for
good.
me. Sorry, I didn't know you were talking specifically, but yes.
All right. Anyway, let's get started. We have a great topic today. If you've been following us the last several months, we've been focusing a lot on tools that teachers have really been asking us to present, mostly Google tools. And we've been teaching you a lot about Google. And today we're actually going to get a little more advanced with some really cool add-ons, just to give you more texture, more options, more tools to present content to students and really build some meaningful lessons and interactions with students, especially during this online time, just distance remote learning. So I think you're going to be excited about what you see. We're back to our webinar schedule. We are not doing weekly webinars. We're kind of doing every other Wednesday, depending on the calendar. And so I highly encourage for you to join our Facebook group, which I'll get to in a moment, so that you get all the updates and access to all of the webinars that we put out there. And at the end of this webinar, we're going to ask you a couple questions, and one of them is, what else would you like to learn about? How can we help you build your tool chest of options with technology tools in the classroom? We're here to help and present and provide free information as best we can. So let us know what you need help with. Now, if any of you are not familiar with who we are, for 28 years, I've actually been in ed tech, helping schools, teachers, and students really leverage the power of technology to improve teaching and learning. We still do that. Obviously, a big part of our role these days has been online transition plans and helping schools prepare for that. Also helping prepare to get back to school. Remember classrooms? Yeah, that's going to be relevant again here soon. And really, one of the things I'm finding is you could have trained teachers, you could have infrastructure, but updating and modifying lesson plans and curriculum and keeping them relevant for students, that never goes out of style. And we could definitely help you to do that. And if you're interested in any way with curriculum, with infrastructure, with professional development, fundraising, any of those concepts, please, go to our website and find the free school analysis at the bottom of the page and let us help you. It doesn't cost you anything to chat. And also, I mentioned our Facebook group. We've had some really powerful webinars, from Google Classroom to setting up becoming a Google school, a 7-step plan for learning. I'm not going to go through all the topics, but social emotional learning. We've had some awesome topics and good conversations at the end, because every one of our webinars, we have a Q&A that we want to have with you and have a dialogue, get you involved in your particular questions. And again, I will mention, if you're interested, go to Facebook and search for the Classroom Technology User Group, join, and that's where tonight we're gonna load this video up there if you want to share it with your friends, rewatch it. And if for some reason you're not on Facebook, I don't blame you. Reach out directly to me and I'll send you an alternate link. And again, whatever we can do to help, we are there to do that. So with that said, I'm going to pop over. Dr. Hoffman and I have been working together for several years. She was a professor in Irvine. What was the university you're at?
Concordia University, Irvine.
Concordia Lutheran, of course. And now she's at Cal State Fullerton, which is my alma mater. And now she's here to present to you from Germany. Malia, have a great webinar. We're excited to hear what you have to say, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I know that it's the inauguration day, and so you're probably got dual screens up like many of us, but I do appreciate you joining us today. So thank you, Ernie, for having me. Again, like he said, this is the session on some advanced Google Suite tools and add-ons. So I'm going to kind of take you through one item kind of per Google Suite tool, and then I'm just going to connect it to how you can connect it to your Google Classroom, because as you know, Google Suite connects perfectly into your Google Classroom.
Let me interject real quick, Malia, before you move on. I do want to let you know in the chat box, if you have any questions, pop them in there or in the question panel. We will address all your questions at the end. I know you'll have plenty, and Dr. Hoffman is a resource. She doesn't have a break time, so or a finish time. As soon as we have all your questions answered, then we'll be done. So let us know where what you have questions on, and please use the question panel there on the GoToWebinar box.
Yeah,
Back
and
to you,
feel free
Malia.
to ask them as they come up, or save them for the end. And if I don't have the answer, I will try to get you one. So we'll follow up with that. But you can find me on Twitter. And like Ernie said, I've kind of canceled my other social media for now. I feel like Twitter's my safe place. And I currently teach at Cal State Fullerton. So, but like he said, I am residing in Germany for the time being, doing some military stuff. Here's our agenda. If you want to pull up this presentation on your own device, you can type in that bit.ly exactly as is with the capital S and the capital J, and that will take you to the slides. Now you'll have to navigate them yourself, but at least you'll have the live links that you can use, and then you can add a shortcut to your drive as well that you can use later on. And if I make changes to it or update it, you'll have those as well. And if you want it just as is, I would recommend making a copy, and then you have edit rights and you can do that. So these are a few of the tools that we're going to share with you today. Google Jamboard, which is an interactive whiteboard. We're going to look at Google Collections, Pear Deck, and Flippity, and then I'm going to share a couple of other tips. So Google Jamboard, like I said, it's a digital whiteboard. It has many uses. It is connected to your Google Drive, and if you are trying, and I encourage you to do this, if you are trying to follow along and play around with these tools as I'm talking, please do so. In your Drive, when you go to the drop-down folder, you won't see it in your top 4, but you will have to go to More. This is the yellow hand pointing you there. And then you will go down to Google Jamboard. And if you click on that, you should see a Jamboard pop up. And in that, you can set the background. I'm going to just step out of my presentation to show you that specifically, and then give you an opportunity to play around with it. But before we get there, what I want you to know is to add a sticky note. You click on the little sticky note icon on the left-hand side. By clicking through the colors, you can change the color of that. And then once you hit save, it'll plop it onto our shared board. Now note that everyone has editing rights, so you can click and move and edit each other's notes. So we'll try to just be respectful of other people's work and not do that. One thing to note too is that it does add them all in one stack, and so you'll have to click and move and drag those around. And so here is the link that I would like you to travel to, and I think Ernie has it, so he can put it into the chat as well. And if you have the presentation open, you can just click on that link or that one as well. But this will be our shared place where I would like to just get to know who's in here right now, and we can start playing with the shared software. And so I'm going to skip out of here and jump onto our shared Jamboard. And again, to add a Post-it to this stack, click on the sticky note here on the left, choose your color, and the prompt, I'm asking you to say your name, say where you're from, and what your role in education is. And if you have, which I thought would be a fun icebreaker question, to say what your favorite item is that you purchased this year. And I'll give you a couple minutes. I saw someone posted a Post-it but it looks like it disappeared. I don't know if they went back to edit it, but I'm going to refresh it just in case it's not loading. Okay, Ernie added one. So we have Yasmin, who is a teacher who works at Sentinel High. Great, Ernie's here. He bought a trip to Mexico, hopefully in a COVID safe place. Usually they populate a little bit quicker than this. There we go. Let's see, we have Erin, who is the middle school dean of Ontario Christian. Hi, Erin. You bought some fun tools to work in the garage. Yes, because we have time for hobbies now that we're home a lot, right? Sarah from Long Beach. She bought a subscription box from her son. That sounds fun. Catholic school teacher. She wants to learn about tech tools. Great. Well, if you are looking for a purchase, Pear Deck, which we will get to in a minute, will let you upgrade for a purchase on that. Okay, so we have some high school teachers, it looks like. Great. Just moving these around so we can see everybody. Okay, so as you can see, the Post-it tool is super, super easy. You can also play around with, this is the laser. So if you use this as an interactive whiteboard while you're teaching, you can highlight, and it does this tracer follow as you are highlighting items on the whiteboard. You can also do a text box and add in just text box if you don't want to do stickies. You can add in shapes. You can add in images, and you can add them in by URL. So if you get, copyright free images, you can add in images from your Google Drive or your Google Photos, all of those things. This is the arrow key. So that's what you click to go back to selecting again. And here's the pen to draw. And then if you want to erase it, you just trace over the top of it like that. The nice thing too is you always have the undo button, and it'll undo what you're doing. And I want to point out too that I've added a couple of extra pages to this that we'll get to. So here's the second page, and I would like you to add a content related use for Jamboard. Feel free to add a text box, an image, a sticky, and I'm going to change the background so you can see that, so that it doesn't look quite so dark. So if we do add text and it's gray or black, it'll still show up. And so feel free to add in some content related uses of Jamboard, and then I'm going to share with you some suggestions that I have as well, but I just wanted to get you thinking about it on your own. The clear frame option will clear out this whole sticky if you want to start over. But like I said, if by just clicking the arrow from right to left will help you move, and it'll add in new frames for you. So I'll give you a minute or two to add in some content related uses. And I hear my fan on my computer working overtime. So I see some people are in it. That's good. Let's see if it populates. And I'm going to add one. Notice I had to click cancel to get out of there. Okay, yeah, students can interact. You can assign students per page, so you can add in groups, so that way you don't have 30 students working on one page. I like the image added. That's awesome. Matching vocabulary words with pictures, great. Yeah, it's great for foreign languages too, or just sight words, or any sort of vocabulary activity. Yeah, I love that. Phonics and word building, yes. Exit tickets across all subjects, great. Group projects, content, yes. It is a lot like Padlet. It is. It has a few more features, but it is a lot like Padlet. Okay, excellent. I'm going to take us back to the presentation. When you are in your Jamboard, let me go back one more slide. So if you notice, when you're in your drive, you can add in a new Jamboard, and what it will be is to like a whole new stack, and you'll add in a plus for new, and then you'll go to Jamboard to add in a brand new one. And that's to start a new stack. Here are some ideas for other educational uses that I thought might be of interest to any of you. You can use the shapes to highlight items. Annotations, so what you can do is if you scan in a picture, or if you take a picture with your mobile device, you can add that image as a background, and you can use the highlight tool, the pens, or you can use the stickies to annotate the text. You can have students create digital posters. We talked about the teaching whiteboard. Graphic organizers are great, especially like Venn diagrams, things like that. You can have a pro-con discussion. I like the idea for brainstorming or sketchnoting. And then there are a bunch of templates that you can get by just clicking on this link, and more ideas there. I'm going to pause for questions.
Yeah, before you move on, there are a couple questions. Perfect timing.
Okay.
We were thinking the same exact thing. Andres was curious because Andres is working from an iPad, and it's curious. He doesn't want to do it now because he might stop the GoToWebinar. But does it work on iPad as well?
It does work on iPad. I have not had a lot of experience with it yet, but it does work on iPad, and I think the features might be a little bit different, but it does work, yes.
Okay, good. And then Julio just wanted to say hello. Hello, Julio.
Hi, Julio.
I know Julio. And then also Aaron wanted to know, Aaron doesn't see Jamboard as an option on Aaron's Google Drive. Nothing showed up with the search for Jamboard.
Yeah, so if you go, Aaron, so when you go to your Google Drive and you go down to the plus button and to the more, and then does Google Jamboard show up there? And let me caveat that.
Aaron says no.
Okay. Are you in a school account?
Yes.
So your administrator might have it turned off.
Bad administrator.
Yeah, that might be something whoever's your Google education administrator, they can turn on specific applications. And so that one might be one that's turned off. So you can work with that person and get it requested to be turned on. The other option is to use your personal Google account. And you can still link that. You can link, so I want to show you how you can share that with your students in your Google Classroom. So what I would do, and like I shared with you in the presentation, is just copy and paste the URL. Make sure that you have the share settings to anyone with the link can edit. That's very important. So right here, anyone on the internet with this link can edit it, and you can change that by choosing the drop-down menu options. And then this is the URL that you would copy and paste, and you would place that into your Google Classroom. Now you can place it in as a discussion question. You can place it in as an assignment. You can place it in as part of your weekly announcements or your daily announcements. Many options for how and where to include that into your your Google Classroom. And you can still connect it. If your administrator has Jamboard turned off, you can still connect it to your Google Classroom, but it would just have to be created within your personal account, which I know is sort of a limiting factor. I understand that, but I think that you could make the argument to get them to turn that on for you.
Yeah, and Aaron, if you need help with that, let us know. We're right down the street from you in Chino Hills, and we have techs that could come over and help you figure that out.
Yep.
In the meantime, also Amy did Amy Little. Hi, Amy. It has. She says it has to be turned on by a school account, in a school account by an admin before it's available to the school account users. Basically
Okay.
confirming what you said.
Yep.
And S. Reed just joined and is looking for the slides. Keon, can you send S. Reed the slides? No problem, Aaron. You're welcome. Back to you, Malia.
Okay,
I don't see
great.
any more questions.
Okay, good. If you come up with something later, just let me know. Okay, so those are the educational uses. The next thing I want to show you are Google Collections. Now, Google Collections, I don't know if you remember back when they had Google Plus as their communities, and they allowed you to create collections as sort of like magazine stacks of content, social media content, articles, things like that. They've kind of pivoted from that, and they've gone to allowing you to create collections using Google Maps. Now, at this time, you can't create a stack with pictures or websites like in the way that Pinterest does, but what you can do is you can create a stack of collection in the Google Maps for places of interest, restaurants, things like that, journeys, and I'm going to share with you a bunch of different uses and how you can create that collection with educational connections. So to get to your Google Collections in your Drive, you will need to, and we're going to follow the yellow hand here, go up to this stack of dots, which I've heard people call the hamburger. I'm not sure why, but so click on the hamburger, and in your drop-down menu, you'll have multiple Google tools that will show up. Now, your order and the way, like where your collections will probably be in a different spot, but mine is here, and it looks like this. It looks like a little bookmark, and so you'll click that. And what you'll do is you will create a new collection, and I'm going to go into mine to show you how to do that. So what you'll do, this is a little screenshot of what will populate. You'll click the plus sign that says add a new collection, and then you'll want to name it whatever you want, and then you'll add in 3 dots, you'll go to the 3 dots, which are the sharing, and you'll want to share it with anyone with the link can see it. I always feel like that's a very safe option if you plan to share it with anyone. You can always do that later, but I get in the habit of doing it right away because I forget later on. And then you'll want to copy and paste that link and post that in your Google Classroom whenever you're ready. So this might be if you're doing a story with your students and it has multiple locations in it. For instance, I noticed when I read The Kite Runner, and I've seen other educators use this book, there are multiple locations talked about in that book. And so noting and showing where the students, where those places are in the world helps give them context and make it a little bit more tangible, because a lot of those students haven't been to those places in the Middle East that are talked about in that book. Additionally, you can share it and add people to contribute to that, and you'll need to add their Google accounts or their emails to do that. And so here's a bigger screenshot of it. So you'll hit the new collection. Here's the share button. And then you'll also have to open up a new tab for Google Maps. And you'll search for places, topics, or content. And then you'll be clicking that bookmark icon to add to your collections. And then I highly recommend adding notes. And again, I'm going to show you this in a second. But here are some other educational uses. You can, like I mentioned, map some locations from a story. You can build a tourist e-brochure. You can have historical locations mapped or just points of interest. So I'm going to take you out and show you how to get to the collections. So
sometimes people want to know where their webinar presenter is at.
Oh, yes, I will show you where I'm at. So, and it's actually awesome because I happen to be not in California like the rest of you, or like the rest of the presenters, I should say. Okay, so as I mentioned, here is my Google Drive, right? And what I want to do is I want to navigate to my collections. So I go up to the hamburger, I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to click on this, which is my collections. And I have my collections loaded here. The internet in Germany is not great, so just bear with it, and I have things preloaded. So when you click on the collections, this will pull up. I've already created several collections, so that's why you see so many. You might have some too that you didn't know you had. But here's where you go when you create a new collection. So where, oops, I'm gonna do where in the world. And so I'm going to create a collection there. And so as I said, I like to share it right away. So I'm going to click here, the 3 dots, go to sharing. Anyone with the link can see it. Done. And this way I can share this link in my Google Classroom. Now I find that the search within this screen is not great. So what I like to do is I like to pull up Google Maps on my own and then start searching from there. And since I've already created a collection, it will be easier for me to add it in. So where is my home? I'm going to type in my base, actually, where I am stationed currently. Ramstein Air Force Base, which is in Germany. And you can see it'll populate on the map. Here is the bookmark collection looking icon that I have been talking about. So I'm going to click Save. This is where I can add it to my stack that I just made. Where in the world am I? And then I mentioned I highly recommend adding in a note. So I'm going to add in a note and say, and so now I have this note attached to this location saved in my collection. So I'm going to go back to my collection here. I'm going to refresh it. And you can see here is my stack, here is my base, and if I open this up, it'll pull up this exactly with my notes into it. When I go back here, so for instance, I did an MLK since it was MLK Day on Monday, and I looked at historical locations from his life, where he went to college, the Civil Rights Museum, the hotel where he was murdered, and where he was a pastor at the church, things like that. So when I click on these, they pull up, and you'll see the note that I've added into this item that I've added into the stack. So students can create their own stack. They can share that with you. If you add this as an assignment, you can have them copy the link, and then you can have them paste that into the assignment section when they're handing in an assignment in the Google Classroom. You can add in a stack if you want students to look at specific locations. If you can even connect it to math and have them map out distances from different locations. But basically, by just creating a shared with anyone with the link can view, they can see everything that is in that stack. I'm going to pause for questions.
Let me see what we have here. Sarah missed where you said to find the collection icon. You can revisit that.
Yeah, sure. So in your Google Drive, you go to the main Google Drive. If you click up here on the top right, the hamburger, scroll through that collections looks like this with the yellow bookmark looking thing. If it's not populating in your list, there should be an opportunity to go and ask for, or to search for or add more items. So you scroll down, more from Google Workspace or Marketplace, and then you should be able to type in collections. And then from then on, it will be located in your drop down of items.
And real quick, just to eliminate the curiosity there, Malia, the reason why it's called a hamburger is because the hamburger has a bun on the top, a bun on the bottom, and then stuff in the middle. And that's kind of what that looks like. It's a stack, like a hamburger. And some of them actually are lines, not dots, and it looks more like a hamburger. But anyway,
Okay.
I digress. Andres has another question. Is collections only for things visible in maps?
Yes, currently. So great question. Because they are, I've read some articles and some blogs from Google that say that they are planning to extend it and develop it. So currently, it is only for Google Map items, but they develop quickly and they make changes quickly. So I would look for additional uses soon.
Okay. And Sarah wanted to clarify, she actually meant once she had gone to maps.
Okay, so when you go to maps, you have to search for a location. So search for a location, and once you choose that, so let's say I'm looking for pizza. And so a list will show up, hopefully. So if I was interested in this Papa's Pizza, I click on it. And then here, notice it's in German because my Google Chrome Translate has stopped translating for me now. But this on your side should say save. And this is where you would save it. And then you would add it to whatever stack you want to. This should say add a note, and this will allow you to add a note to it.
And Brecca wanted to point out, in her case, collections is turned off because it says admin needs to approve. Just an FYI for the others. And then Yasmin asked a question, can I add images from other collections?
Images from other collections. So you can add it to, if I'm understanding the question correctly, you can add in, if you search for an item on the maps, you can add it to multiple collections. Now, images, if the images exist in Google Maps, you can. I don't believe you can add it as a note. I'm not sure if I'm answering her question correctly.
Marco wants to chime in on the hamburger debate because he has also heard it called a waffle, just FYI.
Oh, I like the waffle better.
Okay.
Yeah, I support the waffle. It looks much more like a waffle than a hamburger.
I'm team hamburger.
So chiming in here, when it's 9 dots, it's a waffle. When it's 3 lines, it's supposed to be called hamburger.
Okay, wow. Debate settled.
The voice from heaven just chimed in. Okay, whoever that was, that was Keon. That was Keon. All right, awesome. Let's see.
Amy. Are we good on the collections, or do we have more?
Well, let me finish. No, we're back. We're on the hamburger right now.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go.
Amy says the one with the dots is a waffle, and the one with the lines is a hamburger, confirming what Keon just said. And we use waffle over here at our school, which is what Aaron said. Okay.
Okay. I stand corrected. I will now call it a waffle.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, Pear Deck. Pear Deck is awesome. You can still have the awesome version of it when you are using the free version, which is what I'm going to show you. If your school has bought the subscription, or if you are willing to splurge on that, the advanced premium copy is really good as well. But basically, this adds in some interactive lessons, some tools for you and your students to basically get a sense as to where they are, what they know. And I'm going to show you an example of one here in a second as well. For this one, you'll need to open up a new browser and go to joinpd.com. And I'm going to show you an example of, we're going to stick with the MLK theme because, you know, MLK week. And I give him a week. I know he has a day, but, you know, why not? So Lorian Gustafson, she's a colleague of mine. She created a really awesome, Pear Deck example that we're going to go through. It's going to be student paced. And you will be able to get a little taste of how that works. And then I will show you too. So I am going to just skip into the example right away. When you go to Join PD, it'll ask for the code. The code is NTWWVV, and I am going to ask Ernie to plop that into the chat so you can copy and paste it if you want to. They give you these cute little sayings to, I guess, articulate the letters better. So new turnips warmly wish victorious violas. And so it looks like we have 4 people in, and if you don't get in right away, no worries. That code is going to exist on the top right-hand corner of my slides the entire time. So right here is where that code exists the entire time that I'm presenting. So this is an example, like I said, my colleague Lorian, she created this, it's amazing, of a Google Slides presentation that she created, and then she added the Pear Deck add-on to add in the interactivity. And so what this lesson is if Martin Luther King Jr. had an Instagram account, what that would look like, and we're gonna learn some historical facts from this as well. So here's an example of one of the interactive tools. You can draw or type things that you already know about Dr. Martin Luther King. There are no responses yet, so I want to encourage someone to add in some responses. So I'm on the teacher version, right? So I can see right down here on the bottom of my screen that only one of the 15 of you that are here logged into it have responded. So now I have 3. So now I can show that. And
if you go to the chat box, I put in the link, which is was it sharepd.com?
Joinpd.com. Yep.
And then the access code is yeah, NTWWVV. So sharepd.com.
Joinpd.com.
Join PD. It's my fault. I'm thinking about hamburgers and pizza and waffles right now.
Now you're hungry. Okay, so you notice that this person is typing or drawing as we are talking. So that's kind of cool to see. So I'm gonna guess that they're gonna say that he was a preacher. Excellent. He was an amazing speaker. Yes. I have a dream speech. Very good. And I'm just scrolling down. He was assassinated. He was raised in Georgia. Oh, you just learned that. And well, maybe you didn't just learn that, but I have a dream. Lots of I have a dreams. He was a great man. Yes. I thought it said street at first, but
definitely great.
I love the use of the different tools. You can see that people are using the markers, they're using the text, and more are coming in obviously as we're going. So feel free to move ahead because it is student paced, not teacher paced. You have the option to do one or the other, but because I don't want to go through every slide, but I want to give you the availability to look through it, I want you to be able to do that at your own pace. So I'm going to skip ahead. And so in this Pear Deck for this exact lesson, you are the students, you will be reading the pretend Instagram posts, and then you'll answer some questions about them. But you can always go back, since it is student led, you can always go back and look at those Instagram posts to answer the questions. So I am going to skip through them pretty quickly, but if you read the captions will give you the answers to the questions at the end. So here's a question. We have one response in already. Who is the first African-American woman to be elected to the Texas Senate? And like I said, that answer is in one of the Instagram posts. You can also use your resources. And so I'm going to show the responses here. We've got 2 votes for Barbara Jordan. 3, they're coming in. And the power of suggestion, right? So you want to be careful as to, when you show the actual results or when you show the students' results to make sure that you accurately get what they know. You get a gauge as to what they're understanding from your presentation. And I can always go back and hide the responses. Great, you guys are catching on so quickly. Okay, so then the next question is, of these Instagram posts, which one could have received the most likes? So we say could have because obviously Instagram wasn't a thing back then. But if you look at the likes on these posted pictures, which of them had the most likes? And you will just be placing that red dot on that picture. And so 10 responses in, I'm going to show them. We're a little divided. That's okay. Do you want to know the right answer? The right answer is this one, the woman with the books. It had like almost 1 million likes, according to the screenshots. But great job. So you can see the different types of responses that are available in Pear Deck here. So who would Dr. MLK refer to as a queen? So again, it was in one of the captions. We have a pretty close race here. So according to the results of, or the captions, it was Harriet Tubman. So I'm gonna just skip through the rest and I will share this with you if you want to use this for your students. And then I'm gonna go to the last one to see how well you liked this interactive bulletin board. It's a hit. Oh, almost. One didn't like it. Oh, just kidding. So that is an example, a live example of that. I'll pull you back to my slides. So when you are in your slides, so for instance, here is my Google Slides. Now to add in Pear Deck as an add-on, I go to the add-on heading at the top of my page. And then since I've already added this in, it's here, but you may not see it. And let's hope that your administrators, your school administrators have allowed this to be an add-on. But if you don't have it, then you can go to Get Add-ons, and then you can type in Pear Deck, and that will allow you to add in this feature. So right here, it shows installed, but it'll let you add in this feature to your slides. And so once you add it in, it does take a couple of minutes to load in. So just, be patient with that. Once you have that, it'll give you this sidebar here that allows you to add in those interactive slides by clicking through these options here. The stars denote that they are the premium features. When you are ready, then you hit the start lesson, and then it creates this interactive lesson that I just walked us through for your students. Now, one thing to note is that the code that I gave you to join will refresh and repopulate throughout the day. I'm not sure what the exact time is, so like I couldn't give you the code on my slide because if I put that on yesterday, it would give me a new code today. So you'll have to just have the students add in that code on that day when you're ready to present that that lesson. So again, here are the step-by-steps on how to add in those features into your Google Slides. And again, now if you want it to be student-led, you can add that into your Google Classroom. And once you add it into your Google Classroom, it should make it live for them to walk themselves through it. You'll probably want to set a due date on it, like a time when they have to have it finished, so that that code does not expire. I'm going to pause for questions.
We do have one question from Yasmin regarding doing a bulletin. Do I have to do a Google slide first for a bulletin? Not sure.
I need more what she means about a bulletin.
That's all the information. It says to do a bulletin, I have to do a Google slide first, correct? Question mark.
So to do a Pear Deck, you have to, well, yes, you have to open up Google Slides. You don't have to have your slides completely done. You can do the the Pear Deck add-on, and then you can just start adding in those interactive slides right away. But you do have to open up Google Slides first.
Okay, got it. And Aaron wants to know, was everything that you demonstrated here part of the free version of Pear Deck?
Yes.
Yes, good, okay. You know, and just real quick before we move on too far, Julio had a question about, you know, Julio, I'm gonna get back to that question at the end because we'll just stick with Pear Deck for now. Anything else on Pear Deck? Nope. Oh wait, hold on. Andres, I am in administration of a private school. This looks awesome, but a huge time sink. Is there a repository to pick up free lessons that others might have prepared?
Yes.
Yes. Well, before Malie answers, go ahead.
Yep. Pear Deck has a stack of sample lessons that teachers have created and used and shared. You can click on this link here too to get other templates. I know that like Teachers Pay Teachers, I'm sure that there's stuff on there as well. But Lorian, my colleague, she is a DODEA, so she teaches for the schools that are on military bases. She is a DODEA library media specialist, so she has taken it upon herself to create multiple lessons like this to share with her teachers, and then she just allows them to level it up or down for their students. So you might want to harness the power of your media specialist if you have those people that work for you as well.
Good point. And I also wanted to share that this is a service that we provide as well. We have a whole team of what we call integration specialists that could work with you directly or your staff and develop custom lessons around these tools. Let's see, Teresa has a question. You can also Google Pear Deck and then the topic free resources. Yay.
Awesome. And then just as a note as well, if you have multiple PowerPoint slides already created, Google Slides will easily pull those into your Drive and turn them into Google Slides presentations, and then you can add on that Pear Deck feature. So you only have to add in a couple extra slides to have that interactive power.
And just for the record, Teresa typed in the word yay. I didn't say yay after her statement. Just want to clarify that. I'm not yay.
Thank you for yaying Ernie and Teresa.
That was definitely Teresa's yay. I did not yay. Okay. Anyway.
You can still say yay. It's okay.
I don't do that. Anyways, we're gonna move on. Perfect. Pear Deck is great, powerful. All these tools are amazing. What's next, Dr. Hoffman?
Next is Flippity, which will connect to your Google Sheets, or they have many, many templates and you can get creative. And if you're a coder, then you can get all nerdy and make them personalized. But here are some examples of what Flippity has to offer. So Flippity has a bunch of interactive, kind of like a quiz type of feature, or games, if you will, with content that you can load into it, or you can have students create for their own, quizzing themselves or working with each other. Here are a bunch of different templates that exist on the Flippity website. I'm going to show you the flashcards feature, and I'm going to use exactly their template that they've given out on their website. But like I said, there's a lot of really fun uses for Flippity. So to get to Flippity, if you just go to flippity.net, and you can go and I will show you this, but you can take any of their templates that they have. And what you'll do is you'll make a copy of it, and then you'll customize that. But just be aware that you should not edit any of the blue cells, because those will be the ones that have the code in it to make it work the way that it's supposed to. Unless you know about code, I just suggest don't touch it. But in your content, you can add in links and images, videos, anything that's free and available on the web. I want to just, I guess, mention the copyright free content, because just because you find it on Google doesn't mean that it's copyright free. To add in those other medias, you click in share or embed file. And when you go to that embed code, you will start to copy the http://upload. And you'll see in this screenshot right here on the right, that code, and it's small, I understand that, but that code starts with the HTTP with the upload, and that'll be an image. And so then once you're ready, then what you'll do is you'll publish it. So I'm gonna just take you out of here and show you how to do that. So flippity.net looks like this. You get there, and here are all of their different templates and options. And so you can look at the demos if you choose to. You can read the instructions if you're, one of those people who likes to read about it before you start playing. I'm a player, so I like to jump in and do that. When you are ready to choose the one that you want, you hit the template. The template will bring up a Google Sheet that you will need to make a copy of. So here is my copy of the Flippity flashcards template. Feel free to name it whatever you want, and then what you do is you copy in your content, or you type in your content, but this is the one that they used as an example, so I'm just going to leave it. And this is where you add in the answers, and this is where you add in the questions. And as you can see, there is some media uploaded into there, some YouTube and some images. And you can set in what colors you want the cards. So if you're one of those people who likes to have, verbs color-coded yellow and nouns blue and that kind of thing, you can definitely change that. And then when you are ready, what you do is you go to File, and then you do Publish to the Web. And when you publish this to the web, you want to leave it as the entire document. This will be your URL that you will add into your Google Classroom. So again, as I've mentioned, you can add it in as an assignment, you can put it in as a discussion question, you can have it in as a team assignment, so you can have students work on these together. But all you do is you just paste this link into your Google Classroom wherever you want it to be. And then when you're ready, you'll add that into the web, and here is where the finished product will reside. Here are the flashcards, Birthstone of May. If I'm looking for the answer, I'm going to click this link to flip it over to see the other side, and it is Emerald. I can go to the next one, the 14th President of the United States, and flip. I can have them shuffled. Notice that the cards are different colored. You can also look at them in a few different ways. You can look at them in a list. So if you want students to be able to study them first from the list, they can do that without having to go to the Google Sheet. You can have them practice by typing in the answers. You can have them match them. And then if you go to the more, it allows you to take that content and add it into different formats. So you can have it a quiz show and the randomized wheel and things like that. If you don't copy and save that code after you are done publishing it, and it does take a few minutes to publish it, so be patient with it, but you can get the code from the tab on the bottom where it says get the link here. And so you can just copy and paste that into your Google Classroom or wherever you want to post that or have students share that. And again, since it is a Google Sheet, you can have students share the editable sheet with each other if you're having them create content together. You can have students create stacks of content and share it with the entire class. You can have them develop content that they're interested in for differentiated learning activities. Many uses for Flippity, and many of them are pretty fun, and I think that students would have a lot of fun creating the content. So to go back to the earlier question about Pear Deck being a time suck, students like to create these types of things too, and I have heard students who wanted to create Pear Deck stacks as well. So yeah, I think that harnessing their knowledge and having them creating it is always better. I will pause for questions for Flippity.
Well, I always thought that the best-selling album of all time was Dark Side of the Moon. The internet says it's Thriller, but there's a little debate between Thriller and the Eagles' Greatest Hits. So that one, I'm concerned if it's accurate or not. But let's move on. We have no questions on Flippity. Anybody? Oh wait, here we go. No. Flippity looks pretty powerful.
I don't know.
Let's see. We do have one question before we move on. Where did she say to find the link if you forget the code on the doc after you publish? Did you hear the question? Malia, did you hear the question?
Sorry, I did not. Go ahead.
Okay, the question again. Where do you find the link if you forget the code on the doc after you publish?
Yep, great question. So in your sheet, so this will be in your Google Drive, so you can always just search in your Google Drive for your sheet. But on the bottom, on the tab just to the right, if you see on my screen, it says get the link here. If you click that, there's the link. Boom. You can just copy and paste that into your Google Classroom.
Real good. Okay. Jessia says thank you.
You're welcome.
Carla says this is amazing. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm glad you like it. And then here is a link for those other resources too. Again, if you have the slides pulled up, you can easily get to those templates there. And then finally, I just have a couple of other little Google tips just to make your life easier, things that I was like, which I love. So the first one is duplicating a tab. Sounds super easy, but this was one of those aha moments for me. So when you are working in a shared document with multiple users and someone's like, hey, will you read this sentence? I have, some questions on if it sounds right or trying to get it to work, grammar, all of that. So that being said, here's my notes for this presentation. So I'm working in my notes and I am here, but I want to help my friend who is working somewhere else in this document, but I don't want to lose my place. So what I do is I right click on this tab and I hit duplicate. And in this tab, I can see who the other contributors are without losing my place. And by clicking the icon of them on the top right-hand corner, so right here. But that person isn't linked anywhere in the document, unless they're at the beginning. But anyway, that'll take me right to where they are in that document without having to lose my place, because this is where I left off. And so then I can easily toggle between pages without losing my spot on the page. Just like
Will that work on a sheet also?
It should work on a sheet as well, yes. It should
Cool.
work on any Google tool. And then the other feature that I really loved, especially when you're working in a big group and if you're doing admin things or if you're doing things as a team and you divvy up the work and you want your team to know, I finished my section, now you can go and add in your changes, or you can go and contribute to that. In your document, when it's already shared with people, you can go to File, Email Collaborators, and this will email all people that it's shared with or that you've shared it with to view. And so it has 3 people here, and then you can easily type in whatever you want it to say, and then it'll send an email, and then it'll add in that link. As you know how when items are shared with you in your email, it'll add a direct link to that email. So that way you don't have to send a separate email and have it get lost. I just found that this was a really helpful tip to, let people know that it's ready for, final look or final review type things. And so that concludes my session today. I really appreciate you here. I appreciate the collaboration and everybody asking questions. If you have questions for me, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can email me directly. Again, like I said, this is my Twitter. You can reach out to Ernie as well, and he can get in touch with me. And I just wanted to just say that I grabbed these slide templates from Slide Carnival. So I like to give attribution when I use free stuff from the web. So
fantastic.
that is all for me.
I do have 2 questions that popped up that are from earlier parts of your presentation. Brecca, if you're still, Brecca's still here. Brecca works with students in TK through 6th, and she's used Jamboard with older students, but for younger ones, the stickies option got a little crazy because when adding, students could accidentally delete or write on others' ideas. Do you have any recommendations for younger students in Jamboard?
So what I would do for that particular thing, so I know that younger kids, especially TKs, they're not, great at writing or even typing yet. And so one of the tips that I have in Google Docs, you can voice to text items. And so my suggestion would be to have them voice to text things. And I know this isn't directly related to your question yet, but I'll get to that. And then you can teach them how to copy and paste that onto a sticky. Now for the stickies, I always think it's never too young to teach them how to be respectful of other people's work, other people's things, that kind of stuff. But I know that these things happen on accident. So with that being said, my suggestion would be to add in multiple pages. So if I go back to this, let me go out. So if I go out here, notice I have 3 slides. My suggestion would be to add in multiple pages and then only assign maybe 5 kids to a page. And you can link that. So if you notice, this link should be a different page by that URL. So if you link this, you can have it linked and have them broken down into groups and link that into your Google Classroom that way. So you can say, these 5 students will go to this link, these 5 students will go to the other link, and then that should help with not having so many students on the same slide, if you will.
Good. And then another question came, where did it go? From Julio. Yeah, Julio wanted to know, is there another way to add on to collect videos, like from YouTube? I guess in collections, is there another tool or add-on to collect videos, like videos from YouTube?
So my suggestion for that particular use is to create a YouTube channel. So not in collections, but I would create a YouTube channel, and it allows you to save in your own videos onto your channel. It allows you to make your channel private, or you can just share it with, you know, obviously specific people with the link, which is what I would recommend to add that to your Google Classroom. And then it allows you to save multiple videos onto your channel as well. So not within collections necessarily. I think that creating your channel would be the best option for creating a stack of videos, if you will.
Let me throw out a quick tip. YouTube allows, similar to what you're describing there, YouTube allows you to make a playlist of any set of videos, regardless of whose channel that it's on. So I would advise you to make a playlist and then share the link to the playlist with your students. If you already have a YouTube account, you already by default have a YouTube channel. You just need to make the playlist and then make the playlist public. If you make it private, then it won't work.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you.
Good tips, guys. Okay, and then this is the last question from Andres. When you email your collaborators, can you highlight which things were changed in the document or sheets?
Yes. So when you are looking, so if they are editors, what they can do is they can go here, and you don't have to necessarily highlight it, but if you look at the revision history, so what they do is they click on this, and this is only for editors. So you click on when the last edit was, and that will pull up the revision. So you'll see that I added in these links this evening, my time. It's showing up at my time. It would say what the current time is, but you can see a breakdown of all of those. So you could go directly to what those changes were. And then if you need to, so let's say someone messes up your work, you can restore it to that version.
Awesome. And that will work in sheets as well?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And slides.
And slides. All right. Well, everyone's saying good recommendations. Thank you. Fantastic. What I want to do is one last thing. I put in the chat the link for the Facebook group. So I encourage you to go there. If you're not a Facebook user, I get it. Reach out to me directly, Ernie@beyondk12.com, and I will have this video recording available. I also put in the chat, actually, I think I sent it in the answer to the questions, is the link to Malia's outline, which has a link to her presentation. So you have her slides without any, you have to wait for that, but I will have the video available tonight. I encourage you, please fill out the survey at the end of this webinar. Let us know what other topics we can help you with. Let us know any other support you need help with. And there's some great ideas about E-rate, or if you're interested in innovative fundraising ideas like E-rate, or understanding how to get government funds to pay for all this stuff, we can help you there as well. So I appreciate your time. Have a great afternoon, Malia. Good job.
I want to add one thing quick. Sorry.
Yes,
Ernie, I just copied and pasted the MLK Pear Deck link in the chat, but I think you need to repost it because I can only post to organizers. So if people want to borrow that, I want to just say that please just continue to give attribution to Lorian because she put in a lot of work to that. So obviously make edits if you want to use that, but she has generously allowed me to use that in as example, and I think it's just too good to hoard to myself. So
yeah.
But like I said, please give credit where credit is due. So just wanted to share that with you, and thank you very much for your time today, and I would love to see and hear all the great things that you're doing. If you want to, you know, tag me in them on Twitter. Thanks.
Okay. Dr. Hoffman, thank you. Keon, thank you. Please fill out the survey. Have a great day. It's a glorious day here. And we're all happy. And we're happy that you joined us. And whatever else you need help with, we're here to support you. All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.